What's the difference between a stretch and a windup, and when should you use them? I'm Coach Art, this is Building Better Baseball, and that's what we're going to go over today in today's Bullpen Bulletin. Hey team, welcome to another Bullpen Bulletin with Coach Art and Building Better Baseball. This is the best place for baseball education. Today we're going to go over what the difference between the stretch and the windup is and when you should use them. So before we get into this video, feel free to check out all my free guides down in the description. I made them for you for free to help you out in your baseball journey if you're looking for additional help. So the first thing we're going to go over is what is the stretch and when should you use it. So the stretch is a way that you can deliver the pitch. It involves less movement than the windup, and it's like less involved, and the windup is a little bit more complicated, I guess. And they use the stretch when the runners are on base because that is a way that you can pick off. All right, and I'll explain what that means. So you're allowed to throw to the bases to pick off runners, and the stretch allows you to do that, and the windup does not. But you don't have to only use the stretch when runners are on base. You can honestly always pitch from the stretch if you'd like. There are some pitchers who like to do that. So what is the stretch? The stretch is basically you're sideways to the batter, all right, and you're leaning in, getting your pitch, and when you are engaged with the rubber, actually, let me rewind. If you are not engaged with the rubber, you can move anything you want. You can walk around, do whatever you want, right? As soon as you step and then you engage with the rubber, basically putting your foot on the front side of the rubber, the only thing that you can move before you come set is your shoulders, all right? And you can kind of bounce around like this a little bit. So you can move, but you can't disengage with the rubber. If you disengage, you step off. All right, so stepping off is disengaging. You can stretch out, move around, whatever, right? But as soon as you engage with the rubber, you can kind of move your shoulders and things like that, but you can't move anything else. All right, that would be a balk. All right, so you lean in, get your pitch. As soon as you come set, so after you get your pitch, you have to come set. All right, and what that means is you come set like you are ready to pitch. It's like a pause, okay? Now, when you are coming set, the only thing that you can move is your head. All right, you cannot move any part of your body or that's a balk, all right? And a balk results in a runner getting the next base, okay? So you're coming set like this, and I am only moving my head. Like I said, if I twitch my shoulder, if I twitch my knee like this, that would be a balk. So when you are set, the only thing you can move is your head, all right? And when you come up here like this is when you will start your delivery towards the home plate, okay? So this is basically the start of the stretch. All right, so you would either come here, you would lift up here like this, and you would deliver the pitch like that. All right, and there are not a lot of variations to the stretch. There's not a lot of things you can do. The only thing you can really do is like different leg lifts. All right, so when you come up here, you could do a leg lift like this, pause, and then come down and pitch. All right, you could come here and you could do like a little slide step. So a slide step is like not a leg lift. It's more of like a back and forward sort of thing. So you come here and you kind of go like that. All right, and from the side, this is what that looks like. So you're coming here set and you kind of bring your knees together for a slide step. You come here, boom, boom. All right, and that's just kind of like a quicker way to pitch and kind of mess up the hitter's timing. But the stretch, like I said, it's very simple, and it's basically you're leaning in for your pitch. You can move, feel comfortable, and then you come up here like this, and you have to come set. You can set wherever you are comfortable, so you can set here, right? You can set here. However you come set, it kind of has to be the same thing every time, but the most important thing is that you pause. All right, so what that means is that I cannot lean in for my pitch and then come up here and then go right into my delivery, right? That wouldn't count, all right? That would be a balk. I have to pause at some point. So in the stretch, that's what coming set is. So you come set here, and from here, you can either pick off, right? So you would go boom, boom, pick off, or you can deliver the pitch. So you come here like this, boom, you pause, right? You do your leg lift, and then you deliver the pitch. All right, so that is the stretch. And remember, you can stand anywhere on the rubber you'd like. So the rubber is 24 inches long, right? And you can stand anywhere on that 24 inches that you'd like. All right, you can stand all the way to this side. You can stand all the way to this side, wherever you'd like. The only requirement is that either your toe or your heel or part of your cleat or foot is engaged with the rubber or touching the rubber on the delivery. All right, so like I said, one more time, coming up here, you're coming set, right? You can only move your head, right? And then you do your leg lift and you deliver the pitch. All right, so that is a very simple version of the stretch. So the stretch, as I said, is used when runners are on base because it allows you to pick off runners and get the runners out, or give you a chance to get the runners out. But also, it's just a much more simplified version of your delivery where you don't have to do a lot of movement and you don't have to do a lot of thinking delivering the pitch. It's very simple. You just come up and then you deliver the pitch, right? So that is the stretch. I suggest for youth players who are just learning how to pitch from the stretch. That is my recommendation because it is a simplified version and you don't have to do a lot of movement. It is, like I said, it's a very simple, straightforward delivery of the pitch. I suggest if you're just learning how to pitch and you're a youth pitcher, that you start from the stretch, and then once you get comfortable with your mechanics and comfortable and you have accuracy in your pitches, then you can kind of add in the windup. But if you're just learning how to pitch, go from the stretch. The windup is just adding more things that you don't really need, right? You don't need to pitch from the windup. You can always pitch from the stretch if you'd like. So if you're just learning, pitch from the stretch. All right, the second thing we're going to cover is what is the windup and when should you use it, all right? So the windup is another way to deliver the pitch, and you use it when mostly nobody is on base, all right? Now, it's not like required that you pitch from the stretch when runners are on base, but if you pitch from the windup when runners are on base, as soon as you start your motion, as soon as you start your windup, the runners are allowed to run because you have to go home. As soon as you start your windup motion, you have to continue and pitch the ball. There's no option of picking off runners or doing things like that. That's why we pitch from the stretch when runners are on, and then wind up normally when no runners are on. The only time that you can pitch from the windup that could be safe is if bases are loaded, right? If bases are loaded or there's just a runner on third, because most likely that runner is not going to steal home, all right? That's something you have to think about, but most of the time we pitch from the windup when there is no runners on base, okay? Now, what is the windup? The windup is a little bit more complicated version of the delivery of the pitch, all right? And when you do the windup, you start facing the batter, okay? Start facing the batter. You can set up however you'd like. When I was in college and when I was in high school, I liked to set up like this. This was comfortable for me, right? I had my glove here. I had my pitch that I was going to throw already set in my glove. So when I came here like this, I didn't have to kind of fumble around with the pitch or anything like that. So I liked setting up like this. This was my setup, right? I got my sign, and then I would start my windup. All right. So however you want to set up, I see some pitchers actually they turn sideways like this, but then their windup is like this, right? So you can kind of experiment and do what's comfortable for you. When I was in college and high school, this is what I did, right? So you come here, you have your setup, right? The next part is you want to do a rocker step. All right, a rocker step is basically your non-throwing foot or your glove foot. You do a little rocker step. All right, you kind of just step to the side. Some people like to step back if they want, but I always like to step to the side. So you step to the side like this, and the rocker step allows you to pivot on your throwing foot. All right, so what that means is this is my throwing foot, right? Throwing arm, throwing foot. And my rocker step, if you watch my right foot, I'm going to pivot in the rubber, all right, in the pitching rubber. So I come here, rocker step, pivot, right? So rocker step, pivot, all right? If you were a lefty, it would be rocker step, pivot, all right? So like I said, you need a little rocker step of some kind so you're able to pivot on your throwing foot, all right? So that's how it starts. You come here like this, and you do a rocker step, pivot. Now, one of the most important things that you should do when you're throwing from the windup is watch the motion of your head. You don't want your head to move at all right? Or you want as little movement as possible in your head, all right? Because if you think about it, your eyes are looking at the target, and if your head is moving, that means your eyes are moving, which means that your target is moving, right? So you want to keep it as still as possible, okay? Almost like when you're going through your windup, somebody's holding your head like this, all right? So you do your rocker step, pivot, and then up, all right? So just like that. So come here like this, watch my head, it's not really moving. You're like this, rocker step, pivot, up, all right? And that is the windup, all right? That is the windup. That is facing the batter and you're getting comfortable like this. And as I said, it's a little bit more involved with movement, but basically the stretch and the windup both arrive to the leg lift, which then goes into your pitching mechanics, right? But the big point of the windup is that you have to have a rocker step, you have to be able to pivot, right, on your throwing foot, and then you come up like this, all right? One big thing to think about is that you do not move your head. Make sure your head is still the whole entire time, and keep your eyes on your target the whole time. I see a lot of kids, they go like this, and as soon as they do their rocker step, they look down, all right? Or they go like this, and they look this way, all right? And they're taking their eyes off of their target. You want to make sure that you keep your eyes on your target the entire time, all right? That is where accuracy comes from. That's basically helping you throw with accuracy along with some other things, but it'll help if you keep your eyes on your target the whole time. So I'm staring at the catcher's mitt right here. I do my rocker step, head's not moving, I pivot, and then I come here like this, all right? And then I go into my pitching motion, all right? So just as a little recap between the stretch and the windup, we use the stretch when the runners are on base because it allows you to pick off and it gives you more options when you're a pitcher, all right? So when you come up, you take your sign and you're engaged with the rubber. You can move. You come up set. Make sure you pause. All right, you can only move your head. If you move anything else, then that's a balk. And then once you're ready to pitch, you go through your pitching motion, and that's basically the stretch, right? You can use it at any time, and if you are a young pitcher just learning how to pitch, I suggest you learn the stretch first, and then once you feel comfortable pitching, you can add in the windup. All right, and then the windup, make sure that you start facing the batter, or however you're comfortable. You can stand sideways, whatever. Make sure that you have the three big things with the windup is that you have a rocker step of some kind, and that allows you to pivot on your throwing foot, all right? And make sure your head is not moving the whole entire time. Make sure it's still, you're staring at your target, you're like this, boom, 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 all right? So wind up when nobody's on base. I suggest that you learn it a little bit. You add it on a little bit later to your mechanics once you feel comfortable with the stretch and once you feel comfortable as a young pitcher. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this explained in kind of just basic detail of what the difference between the stretch and the windup is. We went over how to do the stretch, how to do the windup, and how and when to use it. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure that you grab your free guide down in the description below. I made them for you. I have a whole bunch of them down there, and I made them for you to help you out in your baseball journey, all right? Now, remember, I'm Coach Hart. This is Building Better Baseball. This is the best place for baseball education. I will see you in another video real soon.